was also interesting is the parallel story that for the first time I got to know because of your book, of the financial might of these women.
Yes.
They were business women, they
Yes.
were entrepreneurs, they were rich. Because every time the Padshah or the king or the emperor achieved something, he would give them a grant, he would
Yes.
give them money. And Harkha Bai had a ship which took people to the Hajj, and
That's right.
she managed it, and she got into trouble with the
Portuguese,
Europeans,
yes.
and that's one of the reasons. I mean, explain to us what happened. I mean, that's a fantastic story.
It is a fantastic story. So Harkha Bai, who is in a way a very hidden woman, because they don't even mention her name. It's very hard to get this name of Harkha Bai. She's called Mariam-Uz-Zamani, which is her title as empress. And by that time, Abu al-Fazl and Akbar had decided that the sanctity of the Mughal women was so great that you could not even pronounce their name. So it's hard to get at the real woman. But when you start to put together all her activities, you see a very ambitious woman, a very wealthy woman, a woman who's very aware of her possibilities. So she has this trading ship, which was quite unusual for anybody really at that time, and certainly for a woman, and a Hindu woman at that. And it's sailing in Portuguese waters, because our waters at that time were controlled by the Portuguese, and controlled quite violently so by the Portuguese, who would sometimes seize the Hajj ships. And for Harkha Bai to trade, to have her ship sailing, she had to take a kartaz, which was a Portuguese pass, and that had an image of Mother Mary, or Jesus. So these are idolatrous and inimical both to the Rajput side of her and to her status as a Mughal queen. And she used to grumble a lot about this. And I think one of her ships was once delayed and seized. And things came to such a pass, she went to her son, Jahangir at that time, the emperor, and said, "You must do something. They have seized my ship. How dare they? I'm empress, I'm the Mughal empress." And this actually led Jahangir to seize all communication with the Portuguese, which up till that time nobody had really done, because the Portuguese were very violent and quite powerful, at least on the high seas. But Jahangir seized all communication. He removed all the grants that the Jesuit missionaries had till that point. He removed the grants from a church. And there was a sudden flutter over all relationships between the Portuguese and Jahangir, solely because Harkha Bai's ship had been seized.
And in many senses, Ira, while it's not a direct connection, it could be the reason why the Portuguese didn't make major inroads.
Yes.
And it's the coming of the British who were slightly more,
careful in the way they dealt with, you see, the local powers. Definitely. The Portuguese were very cut and dry.
Who would have thought Harkha Bai would have
had, because
in how the colonial dynamics worked.
Because for the first time, the English saw that the Portuguese were fallible. Till then, nobody had dared attack the Portuguese on the high seas. But after this episode with Harkha Bai, the English wrote to their, to their factors back home and said that this amazing, happening has taken place with the Portuguese, and they have been in fights with the Mughals because of the Queen Mother's ships being seized. So the English slowly came to power after this, and it did change completely the equation and dynamic with local rulers from there.